Hi, today I'll be demonstrating how Virsec Security Control VSP Advanced protects WordPress application against a critical vulnerability in the import XML and RSS feeds plugin, which is used to upload files. Here are the CVE details. The exploit is a two-part attack that utilizes CVE 2023-4300 for an arbitrary file upload that has a severity score of 7.2 high and CVE 2023-4521 for a remote code execution that has a severity score of 9.8 critical. As you can see, the vulnerability is for import XML and RSS feeds plugin that has a version 2.1.5 and below. This is the attack kill chain. At step 1, the threat actor performs reconnaissance to check if the workload is vulnerable to the file upload vulnerability CVE 2023-4300 by authenticating to the WordPress application using stolen credentials. Once the threat actor determines that the workload is vulnerable, they execute the exploit at step 3. The exploit installs a PHP web shell backdoor that helps the threat actor gain remote control of the victim workload. In step 5, the threat actor exploits CVE 2023-4521 remote code execution vulnerability to activate the PHP web shell backdoor that finally establishes a reverse channel back to the attacker as shown in step 7. From step 8 to 11, the attacker can execute any malicious actions such as executing executable and lolbin malware, exfiltrating data, execute lateral movement, and rinse and repeat malicious actions on adjacent workloads, etc. Virsec protects the workload very early in the kill chain before the threat actor can execute any meaningful malicious actions. Now let us see the demo with VSP running in detect mode. In this mode, we will see all the steps that the threat actor will carry out. All the threat actor actions will be logged only. Later we will see the same demo in protect mode where the threat actor will be blocked very early in the kill chain. Back to the detect mode demo. Here is the WordPress dashboard. Here we can identify the import XML and RSS feeds plugin on the plugins page running a vulnerable version 2.1.3. Here on the CMS dashboard, we can observe that the WordPress application is protected by VSP. Now when we check the process info, we notice that no response actions is currently enabled for file integrity attacks. We can also see that the VSP host protection is enabled for the WordPress server and is in detect mode, and it is also protected by a few pre-configured application control policies. One set of rules deny execution of some pre-configured lolbins such as bash, dash, awk, etc. by default. Another set of rules enumerate all the command lines that the WordPress server will execute legitimately as it operates normally. The server is currently set in detect state so that we can show the impact of the exploit. Now let us view the VSP incident page. As you can see, there are no incidents reported yet. On the left-hand side of your screen, we see the threat actor server which is hosted at the IP address 1027.203. On the right-hand side, we can see the WordPress server hosted at IP address 1047.7.62. This is the folder path where the threat actor can deploy the PHP web shell after successfully executing the exploit. As you notice from the ls command, there are no files currently present in it. And this is the folder path where files quarantined by Virsec are placed. Let us run pstree command on the victim to check if the WordPress server is operational. As you can see, the Apache service hosting WordPress application are operating normally. On the threat actor machine, we have an exploit script. The script needs the IP address of the WordPress application as well as the credentials to log into it. Let us explore the sequence of events when the threat actor executes the exploit. First, the exploit logs into the WordPress application and checks the status of the import XML and RSS feeds plugin. It retrieves version information and verifies whether it is vulnerable. Once the relevant CVEs are identified, the exploit proceeds to leverage the first CVE. It does this by bypassing the file upload filter mechanism, allowing the malicious PHP web shell to be uploaded to the victim's server. After successfully accomplishing this step, the exploit proceeds to exploit the next CVE, which invokes the uploaded web shell to establish remote control. A netcat server is spawned on the threat actor's machine. listening for a backdoor connection from the victim server. As soon as the backdoor becomes active, we gain control over the victim's machine. The netcat server has connected successfully to the victim server. Now examining Apache's process tree, we notice a malicious backdoor bash command running as a child process of one of Apache's worker threads. This backdoor represents a remote SSH session from which the threat actor can execute arbitrary commands on the victim workload. At this point, the threat actor pawns the victim machine. Let us run an ifconfig command on the threat actor server. As we can see, we see the IP address of the victim server. Now the threat actor can execute the cat command on the etc password file to display the contents of the password file. Let us go back to the CMS dashboard. Here we can see that we have received several incidents for the attack. The first ticket notifies the enterprise about the PHP web shell backdoor that was dropped on the victim server. The next ticket provides information about the backdoor used in the attack along with other details of the RCE attack. These are the tickets related to the backdoor. Next, we can see a ticket for the cat command used. Now upon inspecting WordPress's upload folder, we can see the PHP web shell deposited by the attacker, which was flagged by Virsec. Now let us rerun the attack, but this time VSP will be in protect mode. When running in protect mode, the threat actor should have 0 dwell time. Let me enable the protection action of file quarantine for the WordPress server. This ensures that all illegitimate files are quarantined while legitimate ones are allowed. Now if we check the process info of the WordPress application, we can see that the file quarantine response action is enabled. Let me also move the host protection to protect mode. In the WordPress server, you can see that currently there are no backdoor bash process executing as child of the Apache service. Now let me run the exploit once again. In the threat actor console, you can observe that the exploit failed because the web shell was inaccessible because VSP quarantined the threat actor's code file. Now if I were to check the PS tree on the victim server, we still don't see any backdoor bash command under the Apache service, which means Virsec has successfully blocked the RCE exploit. When inspecting WordPress's uploads folder, no PHP web shells are found. However, upon examining the quarantine folder, we discover the malicious web shell, confirming that Virsec has successfully quarantined the web shell. Now let us go back to the CMS dashboard. We can see several incidents for the attack. In the first incident, we can see Virsec has successfully quarantined the PHP web shell backdoor that was dropped on the victim server. We can also see the protection actions carried out by Virsec to prevent the attack. This demo shows that Virsec can protect a vulnerable application that has not been patched with 0 dwell time. Thank you.